A few weeks ago, I made a video going over 5 tips for Havoc Demon Hunter, and in today's video, I'll be giving you guys 5 more tips, focused mainly on the single target build to get you guys the most damage as a Havoc Demon Hunter. So first, I want to talk about Glaive Tempest. Now, the thing with Glaive Tempest is that in raid, there actually is a bit of an opportunity cost to get it. So beforehand, whenever we were running Chaos Theory, getting Glaive Tempest was really easy. However, now, because of Restless Hunter, if you end up getting Glaive Tempest, then you have to drop Essence Break. So, whenever you swap into Glaive Tempest, you need to be certain that that cleave damage is really needed. To do that, you end up playing a build similar to this. Let me just come down here. Similar to this, this is just the build you want. You could theoretically go to Restless Hunter, but then you are losing Essence Break and it's not really worth it. So this is your GT build, Glaive Tempest. Now, Glaive Tempest is a really powerful cleave tool, specifically for Havoc Demon Hunters. And it's useful in a few fights in the raid, especially those with cleave, Aranog, Mythic, which, by the way, fight's a joke, so it doesn't really matter. Grim Totem Mythic, if you don't need ad damage, you can use it on stuff like Dathia for platforms or for ads. So Glaive Tempest does have its value and its uses. However, I do see some usage of it in places where it's not as good. It's not as good in things like Senarth, even though, no momentum, whatever, ice, pew. However, Glaive Tempest, it's still pretty good, but it does have its usage cases. So Glaive Tempest itself is best used before or after your Essence Break window. So for those of you who don't know, I did a video on it. Essence Break window is basically the I-beam into backflip, into Essence Break, into Death Sweep, and then you either meta, Death Sweep again, or you just slash twice. Now the thing with Glaive Tempest is it comes up every 20 seconds, so you want to make sure you're just using it on cooldown, either before or after you're in that window. And if you're doing that, then you really can't go wrong. Slight optimizations can be made by having it be used during an eventual retreat, because then you get that crit buff. So you see here, I have my crit damage, and I'll drop it. I'll get a little bit of it. Obviously, all my CDs are desynced right now because I'm talking and I'm not, playing perfectly for you guys. But Glaive Tempest does have interesting use cases. I do think it's overused a little bit for some people on raid fights. I don't think fights like Senarth or stuff like that should be used. But if you are taking Glaive Tempest in these cleave fights, like in Grim Totem, or in things like Aranog or Dathia or stuff like that, then I do think Glaive Tempest is very good. You want to drop it before your Essence Break window, preferably hitting it whenever you can hit multiple targets. But even if you're not hitting multiple targets with it, still use that on single target. You don't want to waste your Glaive Tempests if you can. I'm just going to procrastinate here a little bit for 5 more seconds that Glaive Tempest comes up. You can see here, let's say that my Glaive Tempest is up and so is my Essence Break window. I would use Glaive Tempest first in this scenario because it's multiple targets, then go into Essence Break. It also is possible and very likely that you want to do it afterwards, because then you get a little bit of extra CDR reduction on I-beam. Either way, it doesn't really matter. It's not a huge difference in doing it one way or the other. All that matters, of course, is you're using your Glaive Tempest not in your Essence Break window and pairing it with Vengeful Retreat whenever possible to get a lot of damage out in those cleave scenarios. Before we keep going in the video, make sure you drop a like, a comment, and hit the subscribe button. It really helped me out as we push up towards 4,000 subscribers and grow this channel bigger and bigger. Would really mean a lot to me. And now enjoy the rest of the video. So we're going to move away from the cleave side of things now, and I want to talk a little bit about Fury generation and Fury gain. So see, again, a lot of Havocs talking about how they don't have that much Fury in their single target, or I guess a bit in their AoE builds. Again, more tailored towards GT or single target builds today. But one very important thing that a lot of people aren't doing is going to be tactical retreat. This is a very important button. You want to be pushing your Vengeful Retreat every 20 seconds because of how much Fury this is going to net you. So if we walk up to a target dummy, and I'm just going to Vengeful Retreat on it. I have no Fury right now. I'm going to Vengeful Retreat right here. Over the next 10 seconds, you'll see I'm generating 8 Fury a second, and it's going to give me up to 80 Fury. Now, passively, over time, whatever, 80 Fury isn't a significant portion. However, that is a lot when you factor it over the 10 seconds, right? So if you get it all at once, it'd be a lot wasted, but because it's giving you 8 a second over 10 seconds, it's actually a lot of Fury gain and is really useful for Havoc, just in terms of getting that Fury out. On top of that, you want to use this on cooldown because of initiative, yada. There are other places you can have Fury losses or Fury deficiencies as well. One such thing is the Demonic Appetite. So this, whenever you Chaos Strike, can summon Soul Fragments. So we'll see if I can get a Soul Fragment here, which is repeatedly a Chaos Strike the target. But basically, whenever you Chaos Strike the target, you can summon a Soul Fragment. There we go, poops on the ground. Now, the thing with these is they don't automatically get picked up. You will have to go near them to pick them up. Part of that is just the fact that They have a little pickup radius. Again, this target's against the wall, so it's a little bit easier. But AD staying a little bit while in raid can actually be a bit of a benefit for you because of the fact that you are picking up these souls. Their pickup radius is very generous. They have a lot of range to them. So you see there, it's there. If I go here, I'm not going to get it, but if I step toward it, it's going to stuck into me. So it's really, really easy to pick them up. And it's very important that you end up doing this because it's a lot of passive fury generation. I'm not using any of my other buttons right now, just auto attacks and souls. But even with that, it's allowing me to get a fair bit extra fury out of it. On top of that, the Felguard soul does also count as demon soul. It does also give you fury and also gives you the buff for whenever you summon the Fodder to the Flame demon. The last bit for fury generation, obviously Sigil Flame, use it whenever you can, but the real one is going to be Isolated Prey. So this, whenever you're hitting one target, gives you special benefits. Stun duration for Chaos Nova is increased. Very niche. I don't, off the top of my head, don't know a place where that's very useful, but it's nice that it's there. I-Beam dealing more damage, very strong in raid. And then finally, Fel Rush giving you fury whenever you rush through a single target. This is important for momentum and stuff in raid, and part of the reason why momentum is really good, because as you generate your momentum, as you keep it up, you actually generate a lot of fury, 45 per strike, which in turn gives you more chaos strikes, which in turn summons more of those souls. So it's really important as you're playing Havoc to get in the the mindset and the motion of using Fel Rush to generate fury. If your momentum, it'll happen fairly passively. If you're running no mover, then Isolated Prey will be still a large portion of your fury generation. If you need to, you don't obviously have to if you're running no mover, because you do have stuff like Burning Hatred and Felfire Heart, which just gives you a little bit more fury on top of that. But keeping in mind that Fel Rush gives you fury is a very important thing for Havoc if you're running low and all your buttons are down, just to get up a little bit of extra damage. So to round off the end of this video, I'm going to combine 2 tips into one basically, and I want to talk a bit about both Restless Hunter and Inner Demon, because these are both very important talents for single target for Havoc, or an AoE if you're playing GT in terms of Inner Demon. So we'll start with Restless Hunter, because this has really kind of upended a lot of our bursts. Really, Restless Hunter leads into a large burst profile. There's cases where you can out DPS the Arcane Mage or maybe not the Unholy, but you end up having really large bursts on pull with this, especially with stuff like Puzzle Box. So this actually gives a lot of value to Puzzle Box because of these massive mastery gains you can get. Now, I personally have 7% haste just flat with no buffs. I don't believe this is enough to double sweep outside of Lust, but we're going to talk about it anyways. So Restless Hunter, for those of you who don't know, basically whenever you leave demon form, it gives you a charge of Fel Rush, which is a little useless, and then it increases the damage of your next Blade Dance or Death Sweep by 50%. And this was changed recently to work with Metamorphosis, so if I'm in Demonic and I use Meta, it will proc the buff for me, giving me a boosted Death Sweep. And this makes us have really, really high damage every 3 minutes whenever we are in the Essence Break hitting both of those, because if you spam your Meta button and end up canceling the animation of Death Sweep, you will still deal the damage of the final slash of Death Sweep, but it'll be buffed by Restless Hunter and will not consume the buff of Restless Hunter, which means you can then use it on another Death Sweep. So we'll go through here and see, try to show you what I'm talking about. Basically, we'll do my standard little opener here. So I'll pre-pull with this. I'll use my Puzzle Box, Immolation Aura, Fel Rush, the Hunt. Use my I-Beam. Use Inner Demon once. Backflip, Essence Break, Vengeful Retreat, boop. And I didn't get it. So you can tell when you get it if the last hit does a lot of damage on the final slash. I didn't get it there. I don't have Lust. Is what it is. You can see here that this slash did a lot more than this slash because this one was buffed by Restless Hunter. In Lust, this one here will be much higher because you also get that last hit on the final slash of Death Sweep. But it's very important that with this new change, you're basically spamming meta as fast as you can to get out of your first Death Sweep and into the next one. So to help with that, there's actually a very handy macro. Go to my macros here. This meta macro is just an at player cast macro. Essentially what this does, if you notice there when I hit Q or my meta button, circle didn't show up on the ground, right? So basically all it's doing is this lets you meta in place. It's a faster way of getting your Metamorphosis out and into the world, and just activate the buff for yourself, which increases your chances of getting that Restless Hunter buff onto the last slash of your first Death Sweep. And with this, you really can do some really crazy damages. With Cube and with meta and on like stuff like Raz or just in pull in general, you can do well over 1 million damage in your burst window. On Raz, you can do absolute crazy things with those shields. The shield bonus is like the shields on Raz and Storm Surge, the 200% damage increase can cause some absolute like ridiculous numbers, just sending them up through the roof. It's actually really crazy how much damage you can do with those. So it's very important that you guys get this down if you're practicing your damage for raid. Just to make sure that you enter that meta as fast as you possibly can. I'll link this macro in the description, but really it's not a tough macro to figure out. Just show tooltip and then cast that player Metamorphosis. But it'll be in the description for you to pick up if you want it. Alright, so lastly, I want to talk about Inner Demon. So Inner Demon is this buff here, this talent, sorry. Whenever you enter Demon form, your next Chaos Strike unleashes your Inner Demon, which deals 2,000 Chaos damage to nearby enemies. Now this is buffed by Mastery. This was a change that happened during our, I don't know, it was like pre-patch I think for Dragonflight where this was changed. But this talent is very good now. Back in the day, you would actually just waste them. You would just not care about the procs and you just wouldn't spend them at all. But we do care about these procs now, especially in our meta opener. So you can see, especially, you know, I made a short yesterday going over the opener. You can see I say like use Annihilation. You want to like weave an Annihilation 3 times. But basically every time you enter Demon form or have an effect that would add time to your Demon form besides Shadow Destiny, so stuff like I-Beam or entering meta, with Demonic, of course, is going to give you this buff, Inner Demon, which causes your next Annihilation to spawn 1. So it's really important that you are spending these. You do not want to waste these. Wasting these is a pretty decent DPS loss. I'm using it on especially if you have like puzzle blocks or something because it's boosted by Mastery. Using it on a lot of damage, just free basically by using them. So we'll go through our opener here. It's gonna be a little scuffed, of course, but we'll Spell Rush, we'll hunt in, and then we're gonna use I-Beam. After our first I-Beam, it's very important we use Annihilation once, and then turn around, Essence Break, Death Sweep, meta, you know the drill, Death Sweep, and then we have Annihilation again. So we'll use it, and then we'll I-Beam, and then we'll use our last one. So it's really important that you do that, of course, spread up. If you do it and you don't use your Annihilations, you're basically going to munch 2 of the procs, which is roughly 40,000 or more damage. Which is just something you don't want to do. I believe it can crit as well, so you're just losing out on a lot of damage from your Inner Demon. So you can see here I was 40k or 74k here. I actually don't believe it can crit, my mistake, but you can see it dealt between 23.8 and 24.7 damage. So missing out on 2 of those procs is just not something you want to do. Every time you I-Beam as well, you get another one. So these procs are very powerful now. You do end up wanting to use them, especially in like cleaves or AoE. Inner Demon is just really strong. Don't munch your procs. Make sure you're keeping these and not wasting them. So those are 5 more tips to helping you get the most damage out of your Havoc Demon Hunter. I have plans of doing one of these for Vengeance as well, and maybe for a few other classes that I'm alting or playing in the future. But if there's something you want to see in future iterations, or I guess videos in this series I've started with the 5 tips, then let me know down below in a comment. Let me know if there's a class you want to see, a spec you want to see, or just more Havoc stuff. With that though, if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, leave a comment, drop a sub, really helps me out, and I will see you guys around. Have a good one. Peace.